Hello and welcome to Devil's Advocate. How safe is the capital? That's the key issue as to explore today with the Chief Minister of Delhi, Sheila Dikshit. Mrs. Dikshit, after the recent bomb, there's a fear that perhaps every Saturday Delhi could be attacked. If I were to tell you that ordinary people are scared, would you understand?
Yes, of course. I'm aware of it. I know everybody is scared. There's a fear psychosis all over the city because, as you know, the reason bomb blasts have taken place in most unexpected of areas. GK, Connaught Place, Gafar Market, and now the Jamia.
In which case, let me ask you bluntly, how safe is the capital?
Well, you must understand the peculiar situation of this capital. It has a very porous border, you know, people just walk in and out, commit a crime here, run away to another neighboring states or vice versa. And secondly, it has an ever increasing, ever growing population. So, you know, identification, verification, which normally should be done in a capital city, becomes somewhat difficult.
All of which makes Delhi more vulnerable.
Well, it certainly is vulnerable, and of course it makes it more vulnerable because it happens to be the capital of India. And therefore, you know, whatever happens here gets magnified and it's noticed everywhere. Something like this happens in other states or in other cities, it does not get reported as
So
well.
for the three reasons you're mentioning, Delhi's safety cannot really be guaranteed.
No, it should be guaranteed. I don't agree with that at all. It should be guaranteed. Whatever it takes to increase the forces, to make them more agile, should be done, and I believe it is being done.
What would you say are the most vulnerable parts of the city? Is it crowded bazaars like Karol Bagh, Chandni Chowk, Paharganj, or is it the metro?
Well, the metro, we had a meeting and I was told the metro is not vulnerable because Sridharan has taken a lot of care about it. But could be a target for anybody who wants to create panic, wants to create mischief, or wants to destabilize and create a fear psychosis. These would be the most natural places where they would do it.
And because Delhi is the capital and because it has porous borders, Delhi remains a place that people who want to create panic can easily pick and choose.
Yes.
That's why Delhi remains vulnerable.
It does remain vulnerable, so we have to be extra careful about it. Whatever it takes, whatever forces are required, should be trained immediately.
Now, it's not just terror that makes the citizens of Delhi scared and feel vulnerable. It's also what happens to young girls at night when they're driving home from work. What happened to Soumya Vishwanathan, a young producer who's barely in her mid-20s driving home, and suddenly she gets shot by a stranger and killed. How much did that horrify you?
It horrified me enormously. I'm a woman myself. I have 3 sisters, I have 2 granddaughters, and I think what I said was really blown out of proportion. But I can tell you I'm deeply concerned about it. But I would also like to tell you that women who are working in jobs which are 24 hours, they should be escorted by their employers as safely as they possibly can, not be allowed to go home at 3 in the morning all by themselves. But it's been a very sad incident. After that also there have been some incidents. So I think all of us have to get together as a society and see the safety of our young girls.
You said 2 very important things. I want to take them both up one by one. To begin with, you suggested that the phrase that you used, that she shouldn't have been so adventurous, was either misunderstood or maybe you used the wrong phrase. Am I correct in that interpretation?
You are correct both ways. I used the phrase adventurous in the sense that, you know, at 3 in the morning, it's not a safe thing for anybody to do. And above all, I think those who employ young girls or even boys for that matter and allow them to traverse 24 hours, particularly after 9 or 10 at night, I think they need a more safe escort rather than just driving by herself.
That in fact is the second important thing you said, that employers have a duty, a moral responsibility.
I think so.
To ensure that young girls are escorted home.
Under the Shops and Establishments Act also this is been said, and I think we should do it. Because please remember one thing, that crimes take place not in areas sometimes where you don't expect policemen to be there.
Therefore, this is something you're saying to all employers in Delhi, please escort back young people, particularly young girls, particularly after midnight.
Yeah, night. Absolutely, I think so, because a girl going like that, and the kind of hurt it gave all of us. And as I said, I understand this very well because I am a mother of a daughter, I have 3 sisters and so on.
But there is an underlying issue here. You are suggesting that in Delhi, the capital of India, young girls, particularly after midnight, are not safe on their own.
No, I'm not suggesting that. I think we should be careful about it. I'm not saying that they shouldn't feel
but
safe.
Don't take unnecessary risks.
See, there are establishments that run for 24 hours in a day, all round the clock. So we all should, as a society, feel responsible for them. Of course, the police should be responsible, but or eventually it comes on the police. But I think as a society, as employers, as people who employ children for 24 hours work, will have to be a little more sensitive.
You mentioned the police. I know that as Chief Minister of Delhi, the police and law and order don't come directly under you, but you are still Chief Minister. How happy are you? How satisfied are you with the policing of Delhi?
Look, every time an incident like this happens, I get very upset, extremely upset. It's like a personal loss to me. I also get upset when I find the chaos in the traffic. I keep meeting the police commissioner, I keep giving them ideas, but it's by goodwill that I can prevail upon them.
You have no authority?
I have no authority over them. I cannot even ask, say, that, transfer a certain constable or do that. I have no legal authority.
So you can't actually ensure that they listen to you?
No, I can't. It's just goodwill. It's just goodwill.
Which means that sometimes, I presume, or maybe sometimes quite often, they don't listen to you.
Well, yes, but I must tell you one thing. Any time an incident like this takes place, or an unusual incident takes place, I do ring up the police commissioner. I do please give them ideas. I go and see the LG, and they're doing what they can. But things, training, etc., modern kind of training, modern kind of instrumentation, CCTV cameras and all will take a little time.
You've been very honest in explaining how you feel a personal sense of anguish when these incidents happen, and yet there's not much you can do. If I were to say to you that the perception is that the Congress government is weak on terror, weak even in responding to issues and incidents like this, how would you respond?
No. What do you mean by saying Congress government? What has happened in Gujarat is not a Congress government. What has happened in Orissa is not a Congress government. What is happening in Maharashtra? Yes, there is a Congress government. So there is a feeling all over the country that because elections are coming near, therefore these incidents will take place to divide society, and all of us know some of the parties which do believe in dividing society, so that people are hesitant to exercise what they would normally exercise in the normal times.
You're hinting that political parties who stand, they believe, to benefit from creating such divisions are doing this on purpose.
Well, they believe it, but I think their belief is wrong, because India is above everybody else.
Maybe, but you're pointing your finger at the BJP, aren't you?
No, I would not say. I'm not going to take any party's name, but there are parties which do it on caste lines, there are parties which do it on religious lines, and I think as political parties, as important political parties, all of them should get together and say that we will not disturb the peace and tranquility and harmony of this country, which has been there for years, just to be able to gain some political mileage.
Last Saturday, literally just a week ago, when the incident happened in Mehrauli, many people thought that in fact it was done by political parties trying to exploit the situation. You may not name it, but I'll suggest that many people pointed their finger at the BJP. You're suggesting that there may have been some truth to that.
No, I do get this impression that all the 10 years that I have been in, nearly 10 years that I've been Chief Minister, we've never had incidents like
Why is it happening now?
Why is it happening now? That's a question mark a lot of people are asking. Is it because the elections are drawing near? Why? Why is this peace and tranquility being disturbed? And Delhi is a small and mini India. Everybody lives here and always in peace and harmony. And I can say with a certain measure of pride that whenever any incident has even begun of this kind of a nature, criminal nature, it's been nipped there and there in the bud.
And you're determined to make sure that always is the case?
I hope so. I really hope so. But terrorism, as you know, Karanji, is something which you cannot anticipate, you know. So it is something, but we need to strengthen our forces, we need to modernize them, we need to have all the gadgets that are required to be able to determine where a thing is going to happen, and we will need the citizens' vigilance also.
Let's take a break at that point. I want to come back and talk to you about what many people consider the single most important consequence of the police encounter in Jamia Nagar, the disenchantment, perhaps even the alienation of the Muslim population of Delhi. We'll be back in a moment's time. Don't go away. Welcome back to Devil's Advocate and an interview with the Chief Minister of Delhi, Sheila Dikshit. Mrs. Dikshit, let's come to what many consider the single most important consequence of the police encounter in Jamia Nagar. The Muslim community who live in that locality believe that they're now regarded with suspicion, they're now treated as terrorists. Does that worry you?
Of course it worries me enormously. Nobody as a community or as an area should feel that they are being targeted. Please, I think if this is what is happening, I'd like to assure them that please do not think this. Don't spread panic, because there are elements there who are trying to spread this panic. Don't do it. They're all Indians. They're all our beloved brothers and sisters, just like anybody else. And they've lived there for, decades and decades and decades.
Let me give you two examples why the Muslims suddenly feel they're being targeted. To begin with, commercial establishments have suddenly stopped home deliveries. Pizza and burger companies that would deliver to anywhere now won't go to Jamia Nagar.
I've read this in the press also. Now, I don't know how far it is true, and I do hope they overcome this fear, because to them a customer is a customer, not a communal customer or a rich customer.
So you're saying to pizza and burger companies, don't discriminate against Jamia Nagar and Muslims?
Certainly not. Certainly not. They should not. For them, all customers are equal.
Now, the Times of India reports that Jamia Nagar doesn't have a mother dairy or Safal outlet. It doesn't have an MCD medical dispensary. It doesn't even have a fair price shop. Is there a sense in which your own government has neglected Jamia Nagar?
No, I don't think so. There has never been any demand of this kind. Wherever a demand comes from, for instance, we are opening up a lot of these government outlets and shops just to keep the prices down, the bazaars. Now, if there is a request from there, certainly I'm hearing this now, that there is no mother dairy and there is not anything.
So this is something you look into?
Yeah, of course we'll look into it. If this is so, we should look into it. There's no question of discrimination by a government at all.
Let me come to a bigger issue. There are serious questions being asked about the encounter in Jamia Nagar itself. Magazines like Outlook, Tehelka, newspapers like Mail Today, and even leading Supreme Court lawyers like Prashant Bhushan, who are highly respected, have raised embarrassing questions about the police version. Do you think there's need for a formal inquiry, A, to dispel doubts, and B, to authoritatively establish what happened?
You know, there has been some demands, certainly there have been. There are people who feel that this should be done. But you must remember, the police also acts on the information it gets. And to condemn the police even before things come out, had these you're talking of newspapers, had the police not done anything, then everybody would have said the police doesn't do anything. And if they've done something that's been questioned, now these are questions which I think the police commissioner and others will answer and will eventually answer. All that I can plead for is, please have faith and please have peace. Don't disturb this.
I completely accept that one mustn't demoralize the police, leave aside, condemn them. But that said and done, you know that the nature of questions being asked and the type of people asking the questions suggests that there is also serious concern that the police version may not be a complete version, it may not even be completely accurate and authentic. For that reason, I suggest you, is it not a good idea to clear the air and to remove the doubts of the Muslim community by having an inquiry?
I hope the Home Minister is listening to this interview, so that it's for him to take a decision, because I am not one of those who can interfere in this or give any ideas. Yes, what the people feel, the people have already met the Home Minister, I believe. They have sent their opinion. But I would like to have peace and calm, please, because to me, you know, sometimes I get the impression that, you know, things are blown out of proportion. And, you know, I am quite certain that had the police not done something, then they would have been blamed for that.
That I understand.
Now they've done something, now it's being said, now who's spreading these rumors, who's bringing out these ideas? I think, and I feel very sad that when young people are caught in all this.
Can I ask you something? You've said that this is a decision for the Home Minister to take. If the Home Minister asks you for your advice as Chief Minister, would you recommend an inquiry?
Well, let him ask him. Let me ask him. I can
But you're
only,
not saying no.
No, look, I'll tell you, the people come and see me. Whatever they come and tell me, I can tell the Minister, because I'm in touch with the people.
And many people have asked you to suggest an inquiry. That is the truth.
Yes, that
including Congress people.
Well, Congress people also, but it's for the Home Minister and the Lieutenant Governor and the Police Commissioner to really take a decision on this, because no action is without
its consequences. That I understand.
So now let us go through it carefully, and please, the idea is not to divide society, not to create suspicion, but faith in each other.
Let me raise with you a second issue that causes anguish to the Muslim community. They say that the police periodically hold press conferences or they leak information to contacts in the press, as a result of which half-baked theories, unconfirmed details are handed out. The press then reports these as fact. The readership accepts them as truth, and as a result, Jamia Nagar or Jamia Millia Islamia University in particular are branded as terrorist hubs.
No.
Should this happen?
No, 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 no. Please remember that there are the blasts took place in Ghaffar Market, the blast took place in GK, the blast took place in Connaught Place. Now don't think that all the blasts are taking place in a particular area. These are people who are not friends of the country, they are enemies within or without, I do not know.
But should police briefings end up making Jamia Nagar look like a terrorist hub?
The police should take some advice from the press as to what they should say. That's for them to decide. They give out what are facts, and that's all. I cannot doubt them, but I also do not doubt what the people are feeling.
So what you're saying is there's need here for discretion.
Yes, absolutely.
And there's need to be careful and to think twice before you give out details.
Yeah.
Particularly when the details are unconfirmed.
No, 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 no. I don't think the police will give out details which are not confirmed.
But still be discreet about what you say, because it can affect the mood of the city.
Yes, of course it can, but remember, please, the police comes out with facts. It's an organization which is a disciplined organization. Now people start interpreting it in different ways.
One other thing, Mrs. Dikshit, the BJP and certain sections of the press have strongly criticized the Vice Chancellor of Jamia Millia Islamia for offering university assistance to students who are charged with or accused of terrorist crimes. Did he do the right thing, or has he made a mistake?
No. A, the BJP has asked for it. So you know the color. Secondly, I think what the Vice Chancellor has done is perfectly within his competence.
Do you support him?
It's not a matter of supporting him. What he's done is the right thing, if he's done it within his competence. What's wrong with it? He's tried to protect his students. Is there something wrong with that? The BJP wants to make an issue out because it wants to go on communalizing something.
My last question to you, and I apologize for interrupting. You're not just Chief Minister of Delhi, you're also a mother. What do you say to young Muslims who today feel worried, insecure, most importantly of all, who today feel unwanted in your city?
No, no, I don't think there's no reason for them to feel unwanted. There are 99.9% people who would want them, who've lived with them in peace and harmony, who've given them respect. Neighbors live together, they help each other. These are being incited, and please don't get incited. Come to us, we're all there. And the police, I'm sure, will not discriminate, neither will any government, certainly not a Congress government.
Mrs. Dikshit, a pleasure talking to you on Devil's Advocate.
Thank you.